Yeah, welcome back everybody. We're solving more questions today on circle geometry. Let's go straight to it as usual. Number 1, find the lettered angles in each of the following. Where a point O is given, it is the center of the circle. That means wherever we see O, it represents the center of the circle. So number 1A, let's put the diagram there. And this is the diagram. We want to find angle A. How do we do that? If I construct another chord here, I can see that the circle is now divided into two segments. The major segment, which is this big segment, and the minor segment, which is this small segment. So we'll see that angle 40 degrees and this angle are in the same segment, so that means this angle will also be 40 degrees. Angles in the same segment are equal, and that simply means 90 plus 40 plus A equals 180 degrees, which means A plus 90 plus 40 equals 180 degrees. Angles in a triangle, and that means A equals 90 plus 40 is 130, and that means A equals 180 minus 130, which means A equals 50 degrees. Now we go straight to the next, which is B. Diagram. Let's copy the diagram. That's B. How do I find angle W? If I construct another radius here, that means this triangle is an isosceles triangle, and its base angles will be equal. So this angle and this angle are equal. That means this angle is also 58 degrees. Now that I know that, how do I find W? Of course, this angle will also be W, because this is also an isosceles triangle. Now that I know that angle to also be W, what do I do? Okay, if this is 58 and this is also 58, that means this will be 64 degrees. 58 plus 58 is 116, and 180 minus 116 is 64 degrees. Now, to find W, I can extend this radius. Let me extend this radius a little. If I do that, then this angle will also be 116 degrees. That's 180 minus 64. Angles on a straight line. If this is 116, this will also, if this is 116, this also be 116 degrees. Vertically opposite angles. Now that I know that, it simply means W plus 116 equals 180. Of course, this angle plus this angle plus this angle is 180 degrees. Angles in a triangle, and that simply means 2W equals 180 minus 116, which means 2W equals 64, and W will be 64 divided by 2, which is 32 degrees. We go to question C. Question C. This is question C. How do we find angle Y? Okay, here, if I know this angle, then I'll be able to find, if I know this angle, I'll be able to find angle Y, because this angle plus Y plus 62 equals 180 degrees. So let me find this angle. This is a cyclic quadrilateral, and that simply means its opposite angles are supplementary. That means this angle plus this angle is 180 degrees, and that simply means this angle is going to be 180 minus 85, which is 95 degrees. Now I can find Y. 62 plus 95 plus Y equals 180 degrees. So that means Y plus 62 plus 95 equals 180 degrees. Angles in a triangle, and that means Y equals 180 minus 95 plus 62 is 157, and that means y equals 23 degrees. That's 23 degrees. 180 minus 157. Y is 23 degrees. So we go straight to the next, which is question D. Question D. This is D. How do we find angle Q? If this is 116 degrees, then this will be half of 116 degrees, which is 58 degrees. Angle at center is twice angle at circumference, so that means angle at circumference is half of angle at center. Now if I know that to be 58, how do I find Q? I want to put the 58 here. Let me label it outside here. 58 degrees. Now if I construct a radius here, another radius here, that means this angle will be Q, and this angle will also be 25 degrees. This angle and this angle are equal, base angles of this isosceles triangle. Now this angle is also this angle, because this is also an isosceles triangle. So that's Q. Now how do we find? Oh, that's simple. So Q plus 25 equals, of course, Q plus 25, the whole of this is 58. That means Q plus 25 is 58, which simply means Q equals 58 minus 25, and that means Q equals 33 degrees. Now to the next very quickly, question E. That's question E. I can tell you circle geometry is always simple if you know the rules and you're able to apply them correctly. Now how do we find M? What do we do? What do we do to find M? Okay, if this is 32, this will also be 32 degrees. Angles in the same segment. If this is, what else can I get? 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 I'm looking at the simplest method. The simplest method that can be used to solve the question. The simply easiest approach. What do? I want to find M. Okay, if this is 85 degrees, then this is going to be 180 minus 85, which is 95 degrees. Now I know that M is an exterior angle to this triangle, so that means M equals 95 plus 32, and that means exterior angle of a triangle is equal to the sum of opposite interior angles. So that means this angle is this plus this. That's all. So 95 plus 32, and that is 127 degrees. So M is simply 127 degrees. We go straight to the next, which is question F. If you apply the rules correctly and you are smart about your approaches, you'll find it extremely easy. And that's why it's good to study diagram well, so that you don't use a method that will be unnecessarily long when you can do it in a much shorter solve it by a much shorter method. Now to F, how do we find R? If this is 126 degrees, then this will be 360 minus 126. Angles at a point, that means this is 234 degrees, and R is half of that. R is half of 234 degrees. Angle at center is twice angle at circumference, so that means angle at circumference is half of angle at center. 234 divided by 2, and that means R is 117 degrees. Now to question G straight we go. Question G. How do we find angle T? To find angle T, first of all, I can construct another radius here. If I construct another radius here, that means this angle will also be T, base angles of this isosceles triangle. If this angle is T, I know that this line is parallel to this line. That means this is a transversal, and that simply means this angle and this angle are also equal. Now I know that this angle and this angle are equal. This angle is going to be 180 minus 2t. I know that t plus this angle is 180 degrees. So this angle will be 180 minus 2t. And that simply means this angle, this one, will also be 180 minus 2t. This one will also be 180 minus, I want to label it outside there, 180 minus 2t, alternate angles. Now if I know if this is 180 minus 2t, that means this is also 180 minus 2t, because this angle and this angle are equal. They are the base angles of this isosceles triangle. Now we know that already. If this is t, of course this also be t, because this line is parallel to this line, and that means this is a transversal. So this angle and this angle are alternate angles. Now what do I do to find t? This plus this equals 180 degrees. That's what I need to do to find t. So that means t plus 180 minus 2t plus 180 minus 2t equals 180. Sum of angles in a triangle. And that means minus 2t is minus 40. T minus 40 is minus 3t. 180 plus 180 is 360 degrees equals 180. And that means minus 3t equals 180 minus 360. And that means minus 3t equals minus 180. If we divide both sides by minus 3, t will be 60 degrees. And that's t very, very simply. Straight we go to the next, which is H. Let's make the diagram first of all. Yeah. Now let's paste it. Let's say diagram. And that's question H. How do we find angle X? First of all, I know that this is a right angle. Angle in a semicircle, of course, this is the diameter. That means this angle is 90 degrees. Angle in a semicircle is a right angle. If I know the angle to be 90 degrees, I know that if this is 20, this is also 20 degrees. Angles in the same segment, that's also 20 degrees. I'm gonna squeeze that in there. That's also 20 degrees. This is also 20 degrees. Now how do I find X? I know that the whole of this angle plus the whole of this angle plus the whole of this angle equals 180 degrees. That simply means 20 plus X plus 90 plus 20. Of course, the whole of this angle is 90 plus 20, which is 110 actually, plus 28 degrees equals 180 degrees. Angles in a triangle, that simply means 90 plus 20 is 110 plus 28 is 138 plus 20, that's 158. So that means X plus 158 equals 180, and X equals 180 minus 158, which means X equals 22 degrees. X equals 22 degrees, and that's it, very, very simply. Okay, let's break this into two. Let's take a short break and continue afterwards. Thank you very much, and don't go anywhere. Be back soon.